Okay, in this video, we'll be doing a Dave Ramsey reaction video. The title is called Dave Ramsey Explains the National Debt. But let's waste no more time and jump straight into it.
For free today. Casey is with us in Amarillo, Texas to start this hour. Hi, Casey. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave and George. How are you?
Better than we deserve, brother. What's up?
Well, I'm a little embarrassed because this is really going to showcase my ignorance of the subject, but I've got a few questions about the national debt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard, but we are in debt a little bit.
I heard the rumor.
Yeah, we definitely
so
are.
I've got three questions for you.
Okay.
The first one is, who do we owe this $33 trillion to?
Mm-hmm.
The second one is, why as a country did we borrow it in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is it even possible or logical for our federal government to pay off this debt and operate debt-free?
Those are great questions.
Yeah, I would definitely say that there's great questions about the national debt. A lot of times people don't really talk about the national debt. People talk about the deficit, but they don't actually talk about who actually the United States owes. So I'm curious to see what Dave Ramsey answer is going to be, and I'll give you my feedback.
Well, who we owe the money to, or whoever bought the Treasury bills, are called T-bills. And the Treasury of the United States issues a bond, and if you buy that bond, then that means that if I buy a, $100,000 Treasury bond, that means the United States of America owes me $100,000 if I bought that bond, and it pays me a certain interest rate. Now, I know they're never going to pay the bond, or if they do, they're going to pay it by issuing another one.
Yeah.
Okay, which is if it actually ever does come due, that's how they do it. They'll issue another set to cover the ones that are coming due. But I also know that I can sell that bond at any moment because the credit rating of the United States of America is still strong. Okay, so that's how they finance it. And
Okay, I will say he gave a really good answer. That was a very good response. He kept it simple, and I think he did a really good job of explaining that. But let's continue and see what he says.
danger is when foreign countries or foreign entities of any kind, wealthy corporations in in foreign countries, buy up a bunch of that. That means the United States is in debt, say, to China, as an example. Deeply in debt to China. It's a little dangerous politically. But it's not like they can call the debt, or it's not like they can repo Kentucky. So it's okay. So, but in that sense, it's not dangerous, but it's just kind of creepy.
By the way, if you were just interested, first international, Japan and China, actually for international holders are the largest holders. Actually, Japan owns more of the national debt than China, according to as of 2023. 80% of it is from U.S. 30% is from internationals. Out of that, for that 20% internationals, 30% is owned by Japan and China. And I can probably put the links in the description if you were curious. Had to bring value.
Creepy. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
your second question was, your third question was, can we ever pay it off? Your second question was what? Why did we go in debt?
Yeah.
Well, we went in
Yes,
debt
sir.
because like regular human beings, they spent more than they made.
It's really that simple. You spend more than you make. You gotta end up funding things, especially whenever think about the pandemic to stimulate the economy, for wars. It's a whole bunch of stuff. And plus, you gotta think about once people are used to a certain particular lifestyle, if you don't want to, yeah.
When the revenue coming in from taxes and other things won't cover the expenses of highways and military and $45,000 toilet seats and $1 billion to this country and $8 billion to that country in supplies, which we do pretty regularly. We give
Definitely have a point there. Definitely bringing up good points.
billions and billions and billions away overseas. When we don't have the income in a year, the amount that we're short revenue is not enough revenue to cover the outgo, the budget. The difference is called the deficit. And the amount that we borrow has gone up every year because we keep we keep spending, not just spending more than we make, but every year spending more than we make.
Yeah, I probably end up showing a chart on the screen to give you guys a visualize. We owe a lot of money, a lot of money, and this should just keep piling up over the years. So this could be definitely a long term problem. It's been like this for decades. Well, probably at least a decade as far as we had the deficits getting out of control. Probably at least, I want to say, ever since like the 2007, 2008. So it's definitely been a problem for a while. But let's carry on.
We raise the amount that we're going into debt. So when they say they cut the deficit, all that means is they didn't go over budget quite as much. That's all it means. So it's kind of a
Look, and the funny thing, I'm laughing because he's right. I mean, he's absolutely right on this one. Sometimes we don't agree on certain things, but from what he's saying right now, I definitely agree. He's spitting facts.
of an oxymoron on words. And then the last question is, can we get rid of it? Mathematically, we could. I don't think we have the political willpower to do it. Because as soon as you tell your Uncle Henry, who gets a subsidy because he runs a dairy farm from the U.S. government, that he's not going to get that subsidy anymore because we're cutting our
He stay trying to play people.
expenses, then he's not going to vote for that congressman, and that congressman's going to get replaced by a congressman who will spend money like he's a drunken congressman, right?
Yeah.
And so the people won't. They want to. They in theory, a lot of people say, I'd like to balance the budget. I'd like to get the income to at least equal where we're not going further in debt. But to do that would require cutting a lot of things out. And the problem is we're so far in debt now that a big portion of the budget is just the interest on the old debt.
Right.
And
Yeah, speaking of that, so 6% of the total budget goes to interest. I did the math. And if you want, I'll provide the links down there. Just wanted to kind of bring you value, routine expenses. And in order to get that particular debt down, the country as a whole will have to readjust their budgets. A lot of funds will be cut, probably increased amount of taxes, and it will create a whole bunch of hardship for the country as a whole. And as far as, like he said, for his political and stuff, it's not particularly a good look. So most of the time they're not really going to, they're just going to try to probably do just enough so the debt deficit doesn't get out of control. But as far as paying it down, the way the trend has been for years, that it's always kind of been going up. So I will have to agree with him for political reasons. That's probably definitely the case of why it's going to keep going up. But if they really wanted to, if they could definitely do it.
you can't cut that. You got to pay that. So where are you going to cut? You're going to cut giving, money in the Middle East, money in the Ukraine, money to this country, money to that country. There's a lot of people talk about that. Are you going to cut the military? I mean, those people don't get paid anything anyway, and they put their lives on the line for us. I don't know how to do that. It just requires this tremendous, the amount of hate that it would generate because of the number of lives it would touch to cut everything necessary to cut to get it down to balance. I don't know if anybody's got the political capital to pull that off.
Hey, I have to say, in this video, he's doing a good job of explaining the national debt and answering this guy's questions. I'm actually really impressed. I would take my hat off, but I need a haircut, so I'm not gonna do that for the video. But he's doing a really good job of answering this guy's questions. He's really on point. I fact checked him, and he okay.
Either side, I think it'd be the last time that party existed right now, because people have gotten used to being on the government dole one way or another. They're used to the local government in my county is waiting on $14 million right now to build a highway.
Just wanted to also bring up another thing. That's a thing as far as like when you're talking about waiving student loan debt, all that stuff, that would increase the deficit as well.
Or to redo a road that runs up beside one of my houses. And they've been waiting 5 years on that $14 million from the federal government, and they won't build the road until the $14 million comes. Meanwhile, the road's a damn goat track. It's awful. And so they're waiting on $14 million from the government instead of the local county handling their own business. And it's that way everywhere.
That times 1,000.
Waiting to do the bridge repairs until we get the government money, waiting to do this until you get the government. And so everybody's on the dadgum take, and nobody wants to say no. And saying no is the only way you balance a budget. When you do it at home, Casey, when I do it at home, the way I live on less than I make is I look at the kids and I say no.
And that's exactly what it would take. It would take a lot of sacrifices, hard budget cuts. A lot of people will be disappointed. A lot of people will be uproared. Probably, as far as cutting funds from other countries, they allies may be in jeopardy as well. It would take a lot. And like from what we've seen from history, I don't think the United States government politicians is planning on taking down that route. That road.
I look at my wife and we look at our budget and we go, we can't go on vacation. We're broke people. We got to not be broke people before we can go on vacation. We can't afford that car. Those bass are going to get away because I'm not going to have a bass boat with a motor that big because I can't afford to pay for it. This is what normal people do. We say no. But the federal government has absolutely no ability to say no because everybody wants them to say yes.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. It's not a math problem. You could actually cut taxes and revenues go up. Art Laffer proved that under Reagan. It's a statistical fact. It's not a political theory. So it actually worked.
Did you see Warren Buffett's method to solve this?
Yeah,
and it's a great quote.
Absolutely, yeah.
I said I could end the deficit in 5 minutes. You just pass a law that says anytime there's a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. There you go. You lose your job unless you fix this.
Yeah.
There's one way to do it.
Oh, Buffett.
Because you redefined what winning looks like. What does winning look like as a congressman now? Giving everybody free money. And if you made it, the only way you can
he's rambling now. He back to his stuff now. He back to his bag. He about to go on one of his rants now.
Pass a law that says anytime there's a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. There you go. You lose your job unless you fix this.
Yeah.
There's one way to do it.
Because you redefined what winning looks like. What does winning look like as a congressman now? Giving everybody free money. You made it. The only way you can stay is if you balance the budget. That's a new way of saying it.
Dave with his ending with his rant. He's ending with his rants.
No.
No.
You press your tongue against the roof of your mouth. You release and let air go by. No.
Concludes this video. Let me know what you think about his explanations and what he was saying. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to my channel.